Hello and welcome back to another video, and today, as you can see, we're back on MotoGP 22 once again, and we're here for yet another MotoGP 2023 mod preview. Now, to be honest, this is mostly why there's been a lack of videos lately, is because I've been working on this mod so much. It is almost finished now, and I do plan to start just doing lots of different videos, career mode, some GP bikes as well, because I did ask you guys whether you wanted to see that. And that was something people wanted to see, so it's something I'm going to consider doing, trying to do some of my GP Bikes League races on here. But I will get into the actual video now, just thought I'd give a little explanation at the beginning. But here we are then, we're looking at the Moto2 Cast today. Now, of course, we looked at MotoGP last time. I'll probably do another video looking at Moto3, but Moto3 isn't quite finished yet. So first of all, of course, we've got Pedro Acosta staying in the IO team for a second assault at the Moto2 Championship. The only reason why I'm showing him is because he's now back to number 37. Now, something worth noting, you'll see here, prime example, Albert Arenas. He's basically just got an Alpine Stars suit with the sponsors taken off, also the Alpine Stars logos taken off. And honestly, that's just because I don't have time to do custom suits for everybody. It would take way too long, and the mod is already a little bit behind as it is. So for that reason, I've just gone with the Alpine Stars with the logos taken off. There you can see 75 on the front. And then on the back, of course, you've got his butt patch. I have actually put the Spiddy logo there as well, just to try and spice things up a little, and you'll see I've done that with some of the others. There's obviously no changes on the Honda Team Asia, so on to the next change, and that's Sergio Garcia moving up from Moto3 up to Moto2 onto the Pons bike, number 11 still, of course, as he was in Moto3. Pretty standard here, just Alpine Stars, so very easy to port across. So moving on to yet another Moto3 graduate, we've got Izan Guevara, the world champion, of course, teammates to Sergio Garcia the last 2 seasons, and he's moved up to the Aspar squad in Moto2. So as you can see, the 28 on the front, and you can see he's got a suit. It is actually a new suit because it's actually the Moto2 Dainese suit modified because the Moto3 one didn't quite fit. Now moving on to the next team, this is an interesting one. Now, of course, this used to be the Mooney VR46 team, but it is now the Fantic Motor team. So you can see I've kind of made a fantasy livery based on the Mooney VR46 one, mainly just changed the colours to red and removed the other sponsors, and that's Celestino Vietti. And of course, we've got the new, very newly announced actually, teammate, Borja Gomez on the other bike. And you can see for any riders that don't exist in the game, I've just kind of just given them this generic font and obviously like a white helmet, because again, there's only so much I can do, especially when it's myself. But the mod is very modular, so if people wanted to make their own liveries on top, they absolutely can. So moving on to the next transfer, you can see we've got Dennis Foggia here, moving on to the Italtrans bike, very much like Lorenzo Dalla Porta, his fellow countryman, did a few years ago. And he's actually changed number to 71, since 7 is already taken by Barry Baltus in this class. And this 71 is a number I did used to use before, because I've actually taken that from Valentino Rossi the game. So moving on to yet another team that's got quite a big change, and that is the Intact GP team. They are now becoming Husqvarna for next season, and I was a little bit disappointed with the way this turned out. Of course, we've got Lucas Tulovic here first. You could probably just about see that that's now sort of a darkish blue colour with obviously yellow wheels. The yellow wheels are obvious to see. But I tried to change sort of the black on the Dynavolt bike to that sort of blue that's used on the Husqvarna, but it's quite hard to tell that it's not just black. So that's the reason why I'm a little disappointed. Now on the suit, don't get me wrong, I've not changed it there, so the suit is just black. But the bike, I tried to make it dark blue. Now the other rider in that team, of course, is Darren Binder. Both riders moving to Ixon leathers, which does make things a little bit easier. And we've got a fantasy number 15 on the front because, of course, he's changing to 15. I have seen some pictures of his font from the tests, and it doesn't quite match. But I've adapted his existing font of the number 40 into this, so we'll have to see what he actually runs in the season. So moving on to Lorenzo Dalla Porta now, and another rider you can see with the suit modification. Obviously the 19 on the front, as you'd expect. And if we go around to the back, you can see the Revit logos. Again, it is just a case of it'll take way too long to make all the custom suits. I will probably go through and do some of them, if not all of them, but you know, to actually get the mod released, I've just had to do it this way. I did it this way last year, to be fair, and people didn't seem to mind, so perhaps it's something I can just stop doing in the future. Now, probably one of the most interesting rider transfers was Kota Dezzani moving to Moto2. Quite how he's got that ride, I do not know. Obviously, he's been in World Superbikes the last couple of years, struggled quite a lot. Changed it to the number 5. I believe he was running the number 3 before this. So I've tried to make him a 5 out of his font. It doesn't look the best, but it doesn't look too bad. Yeah, he fits in pretty well because, of course, he's replacing Kubo, who had the same sort of suit brand and same helmet brand, so it actually looks like a fairly similar set of kit, to be honest, because they use similar colours on their suits as well, so it actually looks pretty good, I think. Now, next up then, we've got Rory Skinner, and the only rider to break the exception of I've not made them a custom number. Now, 1, yes, probably a little bit of British bias there, but 2, his number is literally just the same font as Max Verstappen's. So there's already ones of those made, you know, from the F1 game. This is literally how I made it. I ripped Max Verstappen's number from, I think it was F1 2021, and just recolored it to be American Racing, put the white outline on it, and then of course did the black for the side as well. And that was Roy Skinner's number complete. So that's kind of why I've broke my own rule there. Now moving on to the next transfer, we've got Jeremy Alcoba moving to the Gresini team for 2023. And again, you can see he's got the suit treatment, the number 52 on the front of the Gresini. And you can see the Ixon on the back. And then there's actually two more changes. You're probably thinking two. There was no change with the RW Racing team. But actually there's two changes with the MV Augusta team. You can see Marcos Ramirez, similar to Pedro Acosta, has actually changed rider number. He's now changed to number 24 instead of 42, because of course 24 was used by his teammate Simone Corsi before this, and obviously he's now retired, so the 24 is up for grabs. And then on the other side of the garage we've got Alex Escrigue, who of course was racing in Moto E, so again he's got his own number and his own helmet. So we actually got through that whole list pretty quickly there, so I think I'm actually going to do a race as well, just a 3-lapper, probably do it at Jerez since it is a bit of a testing track as Guevara. So we'll start from the back. We'll see what we can do, but hopefully we can try and get through in those 3 laps. So here we are then on the grid. We've got Tony Arbolino on pole, Agora alongside him, and then we've got Vietti on the new Fantic bike on 3rd position. But waiting for the lights to go here then. Lights out and away we go. And the start was pretty good initially, but the AI pulled a lot away massively on the way to turn 1. I mean, of course, we used Power Mode 2 instead of Power Mode 3 on this occasion, just so I didn't get a wheelie off the line. We still lost a load of time, but ran the outside of half of them through turn 1. We got a massive wheelie. The bike not handling too well, of course, no electronics, whereas I'm used to definitely riding some bikes with electronics. There's a bit of crash there, not sure who that was. I thought it was Zonta at first, but it's not Zonta. Somebody else down in the gravel there. I think it might have been Garcia, maybe. We've now just been overtaken by Gonzalez. So we need to pick up the pace a little bit here. We're on the outside of the curb. How have I got through there without crashing? I have no idea. We've got SDK trying to get the inside of Dennis Fodger on the power. Here we go. We're stuck on the wrong side of them, really. Almost on the grass, bouncing up the curb. So the curb's still bouncy as ever in this game. But down towards the Danny Pedrosa corner. Absolute dive bomb on the inside of half the field. Oh, okay, I've just kind of bashed Darren Binder there. But it is Darren Binder, so he won't forget that one. So we'll definitely have to be careful. But it's Latulovic back through. I think, is that Gonzalez again? No, it's Nazani this time. I was going to say, how the hell's Gonzalez gone through with us? But it's Nazani attacking us. There was another crash at the Danny Pedrosa corner as well. I'm not sure who it was exactly. None of the top 3 anyway. They're still the same as on the starting grid. But it's been a good first lap because we're up into the points, albeit an aggressive one and a bit of a cheesed one because, you know, the AI so early on the brakes into Danny Pedrosa corner. That's why I took most of the positions. But to be honest, I'm being a bit hassled by Nazani now, so I do need to try and pick up the pace. So it's been a pretty quiet half a lap or so. I've closed a little bit back up to Tulovic, but honestly not a lot. So we're going to have to try and pass him, and I think Zaldiger in front of him into the Danny Pedrosa corner. Pretty easy up the inside there. Alex Escrigue is doing pretty well in P11 there. With Sam Lowe's ahead of him, then I think that's Albert Arenas ahead of them. And then that's, must be Rory Skinner. I was about to say Cambobier, but of course it's not Cambobier. He's gone back to America. There's been a crash. Vietti's hit the deck. He's got back up pretty quick there, Celestino, but Vietti has fallen out of a podium spot. So unfortunately for him, his bad run of form at the end of 2022 seems to have continued into 2023, at least with the mod, because he crashes out of a podium spot here at the Spanish GP. So here we are then, just starting the last lap of the race. We've done the fastest lap of the race as well on that second lap, despite not riding particularly well. I suppose there's so much time to be gained down to Danny Pedrosa, they just cannot make it up anywhere else. I do seem to remember that being the trend at this track, actually. You made up all the time on the brakes in a couple of corners when they're actually pretty fast everywhere else around the track. So can we pass Escrigue and maybe Lowe's as well? I don't think we can get up any higher. I don't think we can catch Arenas. But we might have to pass Escrigue and Lowe's down towards the Danny Pedrosa corner. So here we are then, down towards the Danny Pedrosa corner. It's just so easy on the brakes, although I've misjudged that one a little bit. Only just getting past Lowe's. In fact, Lowe's might be able to re-attack. He actually has indeed, so I said it was so easy. But I was nowhere near them really approaching the braking zone. And you just ride past them. I'm still on the throttle when they're on the brakes, which just really shows the weakness of the MotoGP 22 AI, to be honest. I mean, they're pretty strong everywhere else. I mean, it's just the braking that they're quite weak. They're very fast on the straights because they seem to have some sort of advantage, very slightly, although you can mitigate that using Power Mode 3. They're quite good, especially through this last sector. You see how much Lowe's is going to pull away from me, and how much Escrigue is probably going to get up the inside. Yeah, there he goes. But we're back around the outside. Fortunately, you can kind of square that corner off a little. I think this is it. We're only going to get 10th place unless we try it on Lowe's. Oh, I thought about it, but it's just not going to quite be enough. So out the last corner then, up towards the line on the power as early as possible. Can we slipstream Lowe's to the line with this Power Mode 3? Unfortunately not, so 10th place from last for Guevara. I think he'll take that one. But there you go then, a pretty decent race, so I hope you guys did enjoy that one, because I know in the last mod preview video people wanted to see a race. Now the only reason I didn't do one was because of the length of that video already on its own, whereas this one I got through the riders a bit quicker, so there was actually time to do a race. But I hope you guys did enjoy that one, hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, hope you all stay safe, and I shall see you in the next one.